Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
All right, great to be with you. Kyle's here, thus the show has a sense of sanity.
Oh, I'm alive. I'm healthy. Back to being a human being again. Feels good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, no, I want to start with Paul Skeens. I think it's only appropriate to start with somebody who's the unanimous Cy Young Award winner. Look, we're in a different era now where 20-game winners do not win Cy Young Awards because there aren't 20-game winners. Tarek Skubal won the American League Cy Young Award for the second straight year, beat out Garrett Crochet. Crochet, I did think, won 18 games. I was at one of them. But in the National League, when you're talking about a guy who has a sub-2 ERA, and we're in an era where, you pitch 6 innings unless you're Yamamoto. It's amazing how one guy can complete games, especially when they count. But you have to give all the credit where credit's due to this young man because he doesn't get a lot of support. And I'm talking offensively. To be honest with you, he didn't get much defensively either. They're not a very good defensive team, and they're a bastion of mediocrity offensively. Yet every single time he gets the ball, he walks out there and I'd say 9 times out of 10 pitches brilliantly. Every once in a while you have a dud. Right? So 9 times out of 10 he pitches brilliantly. I think it shows something about the voters that they look at somebody from Pittsburgh that pitches brilliantly 9 times out of 10 and they recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
They recognize it. He was unanimous for winning it. I don't know him at all. I've never been around him in my life, so I have no idea. Everybody says he's a terrific guy and so forth. The only reason I bring that up is if there's any person in that organization right now that could force ownership to potentially do something, it is him.
Mm-hmm.
He probably doesn't think that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if he looks and he starts demanding a trade, I want to get out of here because you guys aren't putting a winning team around me, he's wasting a lot of his years. Mm-hmm. Because, look, people want to win.
Mm-hmm. He can't get out until 2029.
Right? Exactly. Because, remember, he was drafted out of college, which means he was an older prospect. Now, he got to the major leagues in half a year, maybe even less than that. But this is not an 18-year-old who finally made it to the majors when he was 20 or 21. Right? Here's a guy that was an older player when he got there, so they have control over him for a longer period of time. He could play hardball with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's going into the prime years of his career, and they have put nothing around him. I mean, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And if he wanted to play, I need out of here, he could do it. And knowing them, they would get him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget Garrett Cole. For years, made less than $1 million. For years, made less than $1 million. He finally cleared the threshold.
Mm.
And eventually, he went to Houston. They traded him. They got Musgrove out of it. Musgrove actually pitched pretty well for them, a couple other guys. Here's our big hitting prospect. You're like going, no. He was up with the Pirates, hit a couple home runs. People went, no. And he ended up being
just another guy.
No. So, like I said, I don't know him, just based what I know of him. That's not his style. But people want to win.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we can criticize like the Mets for how much money they paid and didn't make the playoffs, but there's a desire in the organization to win. They just have the wrong combination of players. Right? The Dodgers have had an absolute commitment to win. They paid a lot of money to a lot of players, and there's a lot of deferred money.
And they won.
Fans don't care how much money you spend because it's not their money. Yeah, it may translate into ticket prices and so forth, but who says you have to go to the games? It's up to you. I mean, that's your entertainment choice as to whether you think it's a game you want to go to. But they have one of the truly phenomenal players in not just baseball, but in sports, period, who is Rookie of the Year. The league adjusts to him, and he adjusted back with complete ease. He was even better last year than he was his rookie year. And he is with an organization that gives everyone the impression they don't care. We talked about the inability to do the little things back in April. The inability to do the little things. I'll give you a Penn State football example the other day about a little thing. There was a ribbon board that came up. They spelled football F-O-T-B-A-L-L. Those are little things. That wasn't done on the fly. That was programmed in, and they ran it anyway. Nobody looked at it to make sure. Those are the little things. Clock running in a basketball game. Fairfield. Twice. Little things. Clock stopping because the guy picks up the ball at midcourt. It was a made basket. Shouldn't have stopped. Little things. Okay? Little things. Okay? It bothers me. Same thing with the Pirates. Little things. Okay? We're going to... what was the Sun? Is it Sun whatever it called? Suncoast, some whatever, the drink?
The drink?
Yeah. They covered up the Roberto Clemente 21.
Surfside.
They covered up it with Surfside. It's not Surfside's fault. It's the Pirates' fault.
Yeah.
Little things. I call it management by walking around. If you walk around that ballpark, yes, there are a fair amount of Paul Skeens jerseys. There's some McCutcheon jerseys. But there's Roberto Clemente jerseys all over the place. By fans who never even saw a second of him play. Okay? A second.
The first ever jersey I had was Mickey Mantle. Never saw him play, but I had one because I knew the history and the everything.
So they covered it up. It's not Surf City's fault. It's the Pirates' fault.
Yeah.
The bricks. You don't do. We're just going to, and we're going to put this down. The idea of the plaza, how they're doing it's a really great idea.
Yeah.
The execution of it,
bad,
awful, little things. He is with an organization that doesn't take care of the little things they can control. And he is a great player, and everybody says he's a great teammate. And I know that people in Pittsburgh love him. And you'd like to see him have team success to go with his personal success. Because I would love to see that kid pitch in the postseason. You saw how Scuba pitched in the postseason. You saw how Crochet pitched in the postseason. You saw how Yamamoto pitched in the postseason. Okay? All three of those. One other guy won the Cy Young. One was second in the Cy Young. The other guy was third in the Cy Young. Third in the National League. But those are the top pitchers in the game that got into the postseason and were exactly the way you hoped they would be. Great. Oh, and Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies was the runner-up in the National League. He was terrific pitching in the postseason. This kid has no shot at pitching in the postseason if he stays in Pittsburgh. Because you are with an organization that does not even take care of the little things they can control, let alone do something big to try and get them to be a winner.
Yeah.
Little things. Okay. Little things bother me because little things are things that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
You can control little things. Okay? In my job, I can control going to practice. I go. I can control watching scout tapes and videotapes of the opponent to get ready for a game. I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I can control the time it takes to put together a chart instead of sitting there with a couple of rosters. You don't think I've ever seen announcers show up and they just do the game off a roster?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it. Like, you don't care about your job? You don't care about the fans? Right? You've got to be able to do all the little things that people don't see and have care with your work. And that's why when I see little things happen that are completely controllable, I sit there and go, what are we doing here? The Pirates didn't do that this year. Those are all controllable things. As an organization, if you're not taking care of the controllable part, what does it tell you about the opportunity to take care of the big part of assembling talent?
Nothing good. Doesn't tell you anything good.
No. And they've got let's give them credit. They drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give them credit. They drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
And they moved him up at the right time. So let's make sure there's credit where credit's due. But I'm looking at a great talent, a unanimous Cy Young Award winner 1 year after being the National League Rookie of the Year. And, he's got 4 pitches. He has control over 4 pitches. He is a strikeout machine. He is fun. He is worth the price of admission on a team that has nobody else that is worth the price of admission.
You know who doesn't have a big price of admission right now? The Michigan State football team, Steve Jones.
Okay.
The NCAA placed Michigan State football on 3 years of probation for violations that occurred during Mel Tucker's tenure as coach. They occurred due to participation of 3 ineligible players. They're vacating all 14 wins from the past 3 seasons, including all 5 last year during Jonathan Smith's first year in charge.
Well, okay.
Amongst other things, they're facing.
There's 3 players, and the 3 players were on the team last year.
Mm-hmm.
Smith and his staff have nothing to do with it. The general manager and Tucker, of course, have everything to do with it. But if I'm a Michigan State fan, I'm furious about this for this reason. Okay? Yes, the penalty for using 3 ineligible players fits. I'm not saying it doesn't. But the team down the street.
Everyone's been saying they got the wrong Michigan.
Okay? Went out and did what they did and vacated nothing. And as I pointed out once, I'll point it out one more time. Okay, what Michigan State did was wrong. What Mel Tucker did was wrong. What the GM did was wrong. I got it. Using 3 ineligible players, I got it across the board. So I'm not. All right. But you look down the street. 1, what's Michigan's MO? Run the football. Okay. One of the keys to running the football, where you can do it all day long, is to play with the lead.
And how do you play with the lead, Steve Jones?
By getting to the lead in the first quarter. And that's where the sign stealing part comes in. It does not come in quarters 2, 3, and 4, because by the time you get to quarters 2, 3, and 4, a lot of teams have already started to figure out, because they have people looking, you're allowed to.
Yeah.
That part's
during
legal.
a game, you're allowed to try and figure things out. Yeah.
So in quarters 2, 3, and 4, you're starting to get a handle on what they're doing down there. In quarter 1, where nobody's sure, and they already have them, because they were filming on each side of the stadium in other games? Really? But we can't really do much about that. Vacate anything? No. They didn't vacate anything.
How dare we vacate wins from a team? It's crazy.
We already know the games were played. That's always the stupidest part of it. Like I'll never forget when they screwed around with the Penn State thing, and Mark Emmert had to be the big man and come out and do his big deal, right? I looked up fraud in the dictionary, and I'm not done yet. Okay, and they vacated wins. Right? And Ohio State had their games had some wins vacated.
Was that Jim Tressel?
Jim Tressel. I remember I called up Paul Keels. I said, "You remember that game we did a couple of years ago?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "That game was a mirage." You can't act like. But it's a win Oklahoma had to vacate. Now, my favorite one. This is one I love. Ohio State basketball. It was under Jim O'Brien. And by the way, I thought Jim O'Brien was a terrific guy. I really did. But whatever it was, they did, blah, blah, blah. So they vacated games. So I'm sitting down one day. It's back in the early 2000s. Penn State has not won a game at Value City Arena and have not won at Ohio State since 1999. Or no, since 1990. What, 98, I think it was. I'm like sitting there like going, what the hell are they talking about? This is like 2006 or 7 or whatever. So what are they talking about? I said, Penn State won a game at Value City Arena in 2001, and Tyler Smith hit a jump shot from the wing to put the game away. It's from the right wing, right? So I said to somebody, I said, Penn State's won here. Well, we vacated those games. I said, you vacated your losses? And he looked at me and goes, yeah, we vacated everything. We just thought it was easier. I said, you vacated your losses. I said, your game notes state that Penn State hasn't won here. Excuse me, they did win here. I said, you don't vacate your losses.
Steve, it was a mirage.
It was a mirage. I sit there and go, I swear, there's some days I wake up and I feel like Will Ferrell and Zoolander. I feel like I'm taking stupid pills. Like, what are we doing here? So look, what they did was wrong. At the time, we all thought they were doing something wrong.
Spoiler.
I'm not saying we. Yeah. Okay, we kind of thought something was going on there. And I remember the transfer thing, and and typical the bandwagon jumping. Oh, we got to be more like Michigan State. And I said, no, you don't want to be Michigan State. Well, you got to be more like Mel Tucker. I said, no, you don't want to be like Mel. I would go to groups. I mean, these are things I've got to answer for when I talk to groups all the time. When something is hot at the moment, you sit there and go, oh, mother of God, why do I got to waste my time talking about this? Right? And you don't want to flat out come out and say they're cheating because I don't know it for a fact, but I know enough people that tell me that
something's fishy.
Something squirrely is going on around there. Okay.
Michigan State is also along with all these things, being penalized $30,000 plus 1.5% of the program's budget.
This ends up being about $1 million.
Yeah. They're facing restrictions on official, unofficial visits, recruiting communications, recruiting person days, off-campus recruiting contacts, and evaluations over the probationary period. They apparently negotiated it down with the NCAA to minimize the penalties. So they were going to be, quote-unquote, harsher. The NCAA got their way.
Happens.
That's how it works. Usually they start real high, and then it gets to a point where...
That's how a negotiation works. That's why when I talked as the side topic about the NBA, we're going to triple our money, and I said, well, that's just an opening salvo. Well, they ended up tripling their money. But remember, Notre Dame wanted to get what the Big Ten was going to get, and I said they'll probably get 45 to 50, and they did, right? So in this case, they start out high. You're like down here, and you're like, please. And for Jay Batt, this is the first major thing he had to handle was the negotiation because Jay Batt was not a part of the athletic department at Michigan State when any of this happened. It's not Jonathan Smith's fault. he inherits a team that becomes his team. He's not sitting there looking at the eligibility of the three players.
Yeah,
right. He assumes that well, they're in school, everything's all set, no problem, whatever they play. I mean, all of us would walk in and go, okay, all these players are eligible, right? Yep, we're all good. Good. Well, what? Of course, I'm going to play them.
Yeah. Mel Tucker was handed a 3-year show cause order. Former Michigan State GM Saeed Khalif and former assistant coach Brandon Jordan also got show cause. Khalif was 6 years. Jordan was 5 years. Speaking of breaking news in college football, Baylor athletic director and college football playoff chairman Mack Rhoades is taking a leave of absence from his position for personal reasons from the school. And due to him not being at the school, he will also probably be removed as CFP chairman because usually they require their chairman to be active sitting ADs. Wow. So he is stepping away. Randall McDaniel has also stepped away from the committee. So now they're down to, I believe, 10 person or 11 when they're meant to be at 13 or 12 or something like that. They're down 2 members now.
Mack Rhoades had an incident with a fan or group of fans.
He had an incident with tight end Michael Trigg about the color of the shirt he was wearing during the Bears' September 20th game against Arizona State. The school had issued a release saying the incident was thoroughly reviewed and investigated in accordance with university policies. Appropriate actions were taken, and the matter is now closed. This happened back 2 months ago, give or take.
Yeah, I think the incident with the fans the bigger one. And so, yeah, he's going to take a leave of absence. I had no idea how. And they've got, I mean, there's a lot of talk that Dave Aranda is skating on thin ice down there. Again, right? You got to hit things at the right time. So Dave Aranda, same story, flavor of the moment. Does really well, comes in. Like, look, it takes a lot to have consistency at the top. It takes a lot. And you can hit a season, and Michigan State hit a season. They brought in all the transfers. And I remember in the offseason, you know what I noticed in the offseason after that first year, or whatever year it was, where he's like, hey, here we go. Like, it's like that. And people are telling me, we got to look at the Michigan State model. I said, no, you do not want to look at the Michigan State model. I would tell people because I do like a dozen of these years, I said, no, you do not want to look at that. I said, you do not want to have that kind of model. I said, because there's more going on there than you realize. That's all I said. Right? I mean, kind of indicates that you think that
something's
up. All right. And they're like, okay, all right. But Aranda was in that spot. I'm not saying Aranda's doing anything wrong, not in the least. But remember,
the hot item.
Hot name. And it's like going, I said, well, geez, he was the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin. I mean, I wasn't exactly bowled over. Right? But okay, right? And I'm not going to sit there and tell you I follow Baylor football because Matt Rule kind of brought them back from the football version of life support after everything that went down there. So, but that's, you know.
Going over now, making the jump to college hoops. Last night, I want to bring up women's basketball. Hannah Hidalgo set the NCAA record with 16 steals in Notre Dame's win last night against Akron. Can you remember a game watching where you've seen someone just like defensively do that? Like I remember watching Ace ball in the past few years where there was some games where he would just take the ball away and it would just happen again. And the offense would come down and he would just be like, I want the ball right now and take it. Like 16's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I mean, I haven't seen 16 steals, but I mean, I've seen great defensive players who on the perimeter dominated the game in such a way where you're like, wow, what a
I love watching.
I've seen a lot of stuff.
I know, but this is just it's Hidalgo's 16 steals broke the NCAA record of 14 held by several players. The most recent one came back in 2008, so just one of those where like she was getting what she wanted in terms of the ball. Heading over now to the men's hoops side of things.
Thought Louisville looked really good the other night. I was really impressed.
the other night looked pretty good. Last night as well, Houston beat Oakland, Tennessee beat North Florida. Right. It's the early season games.
It's November, not a lot to delineate from it, but Houston is a really good basketball team. They've got a lot of people back. The one thing that Kelvin Sampson is an excellent coach. There's no getting around it. He may have had some run-ins with the NCAA at Oklahoma, Indiana, and so forth. I think his exile to the NBA helped him a lot of ways. Right? I think it steadied him. He got his reputation back intact. And I think along the way, he took some of those NBA concepts with him to his next job, which was the University of Houston. He has the ability to get really good athletes into his program and then convinces them to play great defense over and over and over again. He convinces them to play great defense. And that's what, Houston does over and over again. Every once in a while when they hit a problem, it's because of the offensive end.
But their defense is never in question.
Their defense and a running game in football always travel and always plays in every weather. Defense in basketball goes to every arena. And you quiet arenas because of your defense. Yeah. And sometimes it buys you enough time to have offense. And they've got enough offense to be really good. I mean, they're still one of the favorites to win the title this year after going all the way to the championship game last year. It looked like they were going to get it.
Yeah. Speaking of favorites, two teams playing tonight, two of the top 10 teams in the nation, Purdue and Alabama, are playing. They're down in Tuscaloosa for this one. Trey Kaufman-Renn is set to play his first game this season. Purdue is 2-0, Alabama's 2-0. So,
yeah, they struggled. Purdue was okay in the first two games. They weren't great. Kaufman-Renn is a big part of what they're doing. And this is what I've talked to people about with Penn State. I really like the composition of this young team that they have. Here will be one of the issues, though. When they get to the Big Ten, let's take the other night. They're playing Navy. Aiden Keough is a terrific player inside. Offensively, he's not a great defender. Okay? He's not a great defender. But offensively, he is excellent. Takes his time, gets himself to the right spots, finishes. And the other night he was 2 of 6. Right? So Penn State did a terrific job against him. But here's the issue, that when Keough had to go out of the game, and I pointed this out in the pregame show, the issue was going to be when they went to the bench, because they don't have A, much of a bench, and B, the guy that would come in and replace him was Mike Woods, who was 6'3". Well, in the Big Ten, when Kaufman-Renn goes out of the game, there are 2 6'10" guys that are backing him up. So it's another big guy that comes in the game, and Penn State's going to have to get through those games because of the pure size factor at the 5 position, which it's not just a guy. There are multiple guys.
Multiple guys all over the place. College basketball also earlier this week. We weren't here on Tuesday, but some big games happened. Michigan State survived against Wake Forest 85-84 in overtime.
Actually, it was Michigan.
Michigan did. Louisville, as you mentioned, beat Kentucky 96-88 in a wild game.
Yeah, I was able to see the second half when I got back from the Jordan Center, and I was really impressed with Louisville. They did hit a drought. I mean, they scored, 90-something points?
96, yeah. 53 in the first half, 43 in the second. Yeah.
Right? But there was about a 5-minute span where they really weren't scoring and allowed Kentucky to creep back in and suddenly make it a 2-point game, and then Louisville just pulled away. They also, the area where Louisville, at least in that game, they missed 7 consecutive free throws at one point. So when you had a chance with,
to put it away,
free points where you could just give yourself a working margin, they squandered it. So, I mean, am I saying they're a bad free throw shooting team? I watched one game, right? Sorry, I don't do the fan thing. They can't shoot free throws. It's a game. Okay? I like to have a trend.
Other games going on around the nation. Defending champ Florida beat Florida State 78-76. Illinois beat Texas Tech 81-77. That was a big game there.
Good win.
Stojakovic had 23 and blocked a game-tying three-pointer in the final seconds.
But that is a good win for them. Texas Tech, good team.
JT Toppin's a monster of a player.
Yep.
Gonzaga beat Creighton 90-63. Just monster performance.
No offense to Gonzaga. But at that point, I went to sleep.
Yeah.
That was the next game after Louisville and Kentucky.
More than fair. And then, are you saying you didn't watch Duke put up 65 points in the second half against Army? Is that what you're saying?
No, but they honored Mike Krzyzewski.
They did.
Which was great because, of course, he played there. He's the point guard under Bob Knight. Then he was the head coach there. And, so the first of his coaching wins happened to take place there. It was great that they did. And I think it's great that Duke played the game there, too.
On Veterans Day.
Yes.
Played there. It was incredible. Other games going on around the nation tonight. Of course, Michigan State, San Jose State, Purdue, Alabama. Those are the two ranked teams playing. Other Big Ten games, that's it. That's all that's going on in the Big Ten right now, those two teams. I don't know if we've really talked about college basketball a whole lot. We haven't really had the time to really
It's November.
Go through and
It's
discuss.
November, and to be honest with you, I don't think anybody really knows much about anybody in November. I mean, really. I mean, it's like there's Dick and I were talking about this before the game on Tuesday, and Dick said, "Yeah, look at this result, look at that result, look at this result, look at that result." I looked at him. I said, "Well, there's one simple part to it." He says, "What's that?" I said, "It's November." He said, "Well said."
Until you get to January, I don't really pay attention. I'll pay attention, but I'm not like.
Well, you got to pay attention once you get to because the Big Ten is still one of the. I think they're the only conference left that plays 20 games. Okay. Well, 2 of those games were in December. You got to pay attention then. I always feel it is critical to be minimum 1-1 coming out of that. Because you don't want to go into your next conference game, which is weeks away. Right? So for Penn State, it would be, 18, 20? It's 3 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks until they play another conference game with Illinois down at the Palestra. If you go in 2-0, wow. If you go in 1-1, okay. But if you go in 0-2, now the pressure to get that game ratchets up even more because these are conference games. So you've got to really pay attention to the early conference games because in a lot of ways they then set up what's next for you.
So college basketball going on as we speak. So, of course, all the different sports going on.
Great article in The Athletic. I know you have to subscribe to it. And Scott Docterman writes a lot of really good stuff. And we know that on December 1st is the day that is the deadline to announce the future of the college football playoff. Are you going to go to 16? Are you going to keep it at 12? If you go to 16, are there automatic qualifiers? If you go to 16, is it the 5 champions plus 11 at large? So those are the options. Go to 16, keep it at 12. Go to 16, Tony Petitti idea of automatic qualifiers. Go to 16, do 5 conference champions plus 11. Okay. I will say here's the 5 plus 11, of course, makes a lot of sense because you have conference champions and then you have what you perceive to be
the best of the
perceived to be the 11 at-large team. That's perception, but but it's pretty solid. All right, so I got that part. I will say from an entertainment and a TV point of view, which is where Tony Petitti comes from. The play-in game idea is not just a good idea. It's a really good idea because if you're going to go into the first weekend of December, so this year it's December 6th, 7th, Friday's the 6th, the 7th is Saturday. Or no, I'm sorry, it's the 5th and 6th, right? Friday's the 5th and the 6th is Saturday. If you put games out there with stakes, where suddenly Michigan is playing at Iowa, and the winner gets in. Now it may be a 6 versus 3 game.
But oh boy.
But you're like, It's a playoff game. Now, from a TV point of view, that is a great idea. Look at the SEC. Right? So let's just take, like, this weekend's game. It's Oklahoma, Alabama. Okay. All right. Or even Texas. How about Texas, Georgia? Texas and Georgia are playing this year. And what if it turns out that because of how the season played out, Georgia ends up third, Texas is sixth. Texas would have 3 losses or they could have 4 losses, right? They'd have a loss to Notre Dame. They'd have a loss, obviously, to Georgia, probably a loss to Texas A&M, and I can't remember what their other loss is.
Texas.
Yeah,
Texas lost to Ohio State and Florida so far.
Florida, right? So they lose to Florida. Yet they're 6. And they got to play again in Athens. And they win the game. Georgia's out. Texas is in. Right? So there's intrigue with that, even though I completely get the fairness of 5 conference champions and 11 at-large bids. The problem with the 5 conference champions is I broadcast the Penn State Oregon Big Ten championship game last year. I knew when I walked into the booth, Penn State's in the playoff. I knew when I walked in the booth, Oregon's in the playoff.
It was just about which place they get. Is one getting the bye? Is one not? That's it.
And in the pregame show, I prefaced it that way. I said, look, the winner of this game is going to the Rose Bowl. The loser's going to have a home playoff game. Okay, now you are playing for a championship and so forth. So that part's really important to Penn State. That part's really important to Oregon. How important was it to the fan watching? Now, Penn State fans, it was important. Oregon fans, it was watching. But what about the neutral group? You look at the Penn State-Indiana game on Saturday. I'm sure the rating is really good because as that game went, the neutral group, right? If you're an Indiana fan, you're over the moon. You're Penn State fan, as we all know, it's like, oh, great game. And if you're a neutral fan, that was a great college football game to watch. No dog in the hunt. I can't take my eyes off of this. This is great. You might have been rooting for Penn State to pull it off. You might have been rooting for Indiana to keep it going, whatever. But you came into it neutral and went, son of a gun, what a game. Okay? The neutral fan on these college football championship games, Georgia played Texas last year. Same story. We knew the winner of that game was getting a bye. Turned out to be Georgia. Right? And that the other one would have to play in the opening round. Texas did beat Clemson. Right? Then they beat Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. Had to go back to Atlanta. But when you know that the stakes are like, okay.
You know what I like at least about this?
I'm talking about that.
No, I know.
That's the downside to 5 plus 11. Saying the downside is from a viewership point of view, a lot of those championship games are going to include the winner being one of the 5 and the loser being one of the 11. Okay, I got that part.
But every so often you get a case where, let's say right now we're taking the team based on ranking where they're sitting as conference champions. So right now I believe Ohio State, we're just putting them in place. Like a Big Ten team, an SEC team, a Big 12 team. So those 3 all get in as conference champions. Texas Tech, whatever. Then you move down the list. You're like, okay, well, who's the next conference champion? There's a world in which Duke wins the ACC.
Oh, I know. They've only lost one conference game to this point. They're 1-3 out of conference. The only one was against Elon.
So let's say USF in the American, who's ranked above them right now, gets in.
Well,
okay,
they'd be a group of 6.
No, it is the 5 highest.
Well, no,
ranked.
They would get a bye.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, Boise State got a bye. Yeah. They would get a bye. But they get in regardless. The question is whether they're in the at-large pool, whether they're put into the at-large pool or whether,
And then who would the next champion be? James Madison. So what could happen is the ACC could have no schools in the tournament. I think that would be funny. Because as we've discussed, the AC is lagging behind, and if there's anything to happen to really show you that, it's that happening.
This is where, to be frank with you, Pat Narduzzi doesn't get it. Like, just flat out doesn't get it. Saturday at noon, they've got, without question, a big game with Notre Dame. He downplays it and says, well, we got these big ACC games coming up. We want to win the ACC title. Over here in the back, if you win the game, you have now put yourself into the running for the at-large pool if you don't win the ACC.
Right now, Miami is sitting at 15th, Georgia Tech at 16th, Virginia at 19, Louisville at 20, and Pitt at 22. They'd probably leapfrog Pitt, up to Miami, or above Miami. They would
leapfrog a bunch because, again, it's my Duke-Notre Dame theory. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wake Forest is 10 and 12 in the season, but they just beat Duke. We're going to rank them 19th. What? You know how many times I've seen a team beat Duke in basketball and moves up? Notre Dame, a win over Notre Dame. Oh, what's Texas A&M's big win this year?
Notre Dame.
What's Miami's big win this year?
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Well, if
I'm just saying, I've always had this Duke Notre Dame thing when it comes to. I'll tell you, they beat Notre Dame. It's a pretty damn good win.
Also, as we've said, the later in the season, he
doesn't get it.
I know
he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what he's playing for right now.
We've discussed this. Because the later
if he loses the game, it's his third loss. He's out of it, which means the only pathway is to somehow get to the ACC championship game. If he wins the game, he puts himself in a great spot. Because he's now in the thick of he's in the 2-loss pool, which is the opinion pool that includes a win over Notre Dame and can still win the ACC. He's put himself in that kind of spot. We're saying tiebreakers, he doesn't make the ACC championship game. Saying tiebreakers, he doesn't make it. Right? And they end up 10-2. I think they might get in.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand what his team is playing for. He doesn't get how the system works.
No.
I mean, at all. He says a lot of words, and you sit there, like, after a while, there's certain people in life you tune out. He's one of them. Right? We just, it's just too many words, too much bitterness, too much that doesn't make sense. And he just becomes, after a while, I don't really care what he said.
Yeah.
And when you get to the point where people don't care what you say, you become irrelevant. Now, on Saturday, game day is going to be there. Game day is going to be there. Right? And McAfee was going to go in there, the West Virginia. But McAfee's a Pittsburgh guy. I'm telling you right, he's going to get out there, eat a Primanti sandwich, take his shirt off. They're going to love him at the end of the thing, right? And it's great for them that they get this opportunity to get game day there. I think the last time game day was there was for the backyard brawl to start the season. 2-3 years ago, something like that. Well, this will be great for them. Right? And, because Notre Dame's there, I mean, let's face it, 60% of the stadium is going to be Notre Dame fans. Right? But it's still going to be filled.
Yeah.
Still going to be filled. I'll never forget last year. Pitt's playing pretty well last year. They played Clemson. Big game. They had an overhead shot of the stadium. It was embarrassing. And part of the problem that you have is because it's the Steelers stadium, the seats are all yellow or gold or whatever you want to call it, right? Which means when you do an overhead shot and the seat is empty, it sticks out. And I would say that if there were 35,000 people at that game, just based on the overhead shot, maybe 40,000, and it was Clemson. It was Clemson. Right? And for Pitt, it was a big game, and Clemson won the game at the end. It was a great game. Klubnik made a couple of really big plays for him at the end. I mean, they had him. They're not a draw in the city. They don't have a big fan base. They got a very vocal, bitter fan base. They got a lot of bitter fans.
Oh, boy.
Right? I mean, no, because, here's the problem. I mean, with all due respect, their record is better than Penn State's. We know it is this year. But year in and year out, in this state, they're little brother. And they hate being little brother. Right? That's why he talks a lot. And he's talked so much.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't understand people are tuning him out. I hardly ever talk about him on the show, right? Because, no offense, they're not relevant.
Mm-hmm.
This game this week, they're relevant, and he downplays it.
We have discussed
I don't get it. I don't get whether the approach was it's a great game, great opportunity. You're trying to play your way into the conversation for the college football playoff.
Why are you going to put it in the hands of winning one game when you can just win all the games before that and not make it a decision anymore? Like, because you're sitting here, we've discussed this. Notre Dame, as the year goes, always gets better. That's the thing. People have started to write off the first two losses they had and said, but they were the great teams, so it's okay, whatever. But if Notre Dame loses this game,
is Miami a great team?
Miami's an okay team.
They're good.
They're a good team. A&M, really good team. People have written it off like
they're excellent.
Well, Notre Dame lost these games and it's okay. They're a really good opponent, so we'll let it slide. You beat this Notre Dame team now, all of a sudden there's an even higher bar to them. You beat them, as we said, you leapfrog, let's say to 14. You're sitting here, a lot of these schools still have to play one another from here on out. You probably jump up to 12, 11, 10, regardless.
And it also may put you in a spot because of where you're ranked, that if you were to win your last two plus the ACC title game, it eliminates the scenario you were talking about.
Yeah. And they have Notre Dame, at Georgia Tech, home to Miami. You win all three of those games against three ranked teams, you're in the playoff, regardless of the ACC championship game. Like, that's where you're at.
Right.
You leapfrog them, you then beat the two teams right behind you. There's no chance you don't get in at this point. At that point, you're in the thing regardless. So you're putting all your eggs in the ACC basket, which requires you to win 3 games when you could win 3 games and get in anyway.
Right.
So why are we... It makes no sense at all. You're saying we're skipping over a week, but you're still putting your players out there to go play. The quarterback is still going to play in the game. The receiver is still going to play in the game. The kicker's still going to kick in the game.
Right.
Everyone's still playing. So you're saying we're going to put them out there. They could get hurt. And then all of a sudden, you're not trying to win a game. They get hurt, and your season's derailed anyway. May as well go try and win.
You lose the game. The loser of this game.
They're done.
Is out of the playoff talk.
Yeah. Notre Dame loses. They're out.
Notre Dame has no other recourse because they don't have a conference championship game.
And Pitt loses. They have to win the ACC championship game, which is, again, they have to beat Georgia Tech and Miami to have a shot at getting in.
Right. The freshman quarterback's playing really well. C.J. Carr, the redshirt freshman, has played terrific football. And Price and Love are 2 excellent running backs. But it's. I heard that and I went, "What is he talking about?" And again, I hardly ever pay. When I'm down in Pittsburgh, I have so many people that come up to me and tell me things he said. And I've said to them, when I spoke to the Duquesne club, I got asked about it. I said, why are people obsessed with this guy? Well, he's talking. I said, who cares? I said, nobody has to listen to him. Who cares? Do I think Pat is a really good defensive coach? I think he's an excellent defensive coach. I do. Do I think he's the right guy to be at Pitt? I do. Right? That's not an easy job. He's won an ACC title there. Right? Hasn't had even a sniff of the college football playoff. But for what Pitt is trying to do down there, he's done a good job. The problem is when he talks. I mean, E.J. Borghetti's no longer there. I would say to E.J., I said, is there any way for you to pull him aside and say, Pat, stop talking? Well, E.J.'s no longer there to tell him to stop talking.
Yeah. Moving over from Pitt, going up north to East Lansing, Penn State is on their way to Michigan State for Saturday's game. What can we expect from this Michigan State team? Of course, both teams come in 3-6 on the season. Both looking for a win.
I expect Mekhi Frazier to return at running back. It's been 2 weeks, so I would not be surprised if he's there and he starts. Nick Marsh is the key to their offense. They're throwing the ball about 30 times a game. They're targeting him 12 times per game right now. because they know he's the guy. Between Childs and Milivojevic,
someone's going to throw the ball.
I mean, they haven't named a starter. Alessio went out and threw for 311 in the overtime game against Minnesota. Minnesota had a couple of breakdowns in the secondary that were really big. I mean, that kind of got Michigan State back in the game. And then they've had, I think, 9 or 10 different combinations on the offensive line.
Yeah, so it's been a rotating cast.
And again, I don't know, based on the 2 weeks, whether some guys are returning or not. Defensively, they've been good. Joe Rossi's team is, Rossi's coming off a game where he knew Minnesota inside and out because Joe Rossi had been there. So he knew different things to dial up. Plus, Taylor did not play at running back in the game. He was out. But their defensive numbers are no better than they're mediocre. Yeah. And in watching the video, you can see the runs. Lindsey's an okay quarterback, but they hit some pass plays. Lindsey's an okay quarterback. I think he's one of those heart and soul kind of play hard kind of guy. He'll run the ball when you need to. He's perfect for what they're trying to do. But I think that Penn State has a lot of advantages going into this game. I think that, and again, I always talk about playing with the lead. I think it'll be important to play with the lead in this game because, and if you can get it to a 2-score game, I think you're in a great spot.
And what does Penn State have to do?
Not turn the ball over. Okay, so let's go to the Indiana game. Okay, Penn State didn't win the turnover battle. Indiana grabbed 2. Penn State had the King Mack interception. Great. Okay. Both teams scored off their takeaways.
2-1.
Indiana scored 10 points. Penn State scored 7. What was the final?
27-24. 3 points.
Right? That's
the difference.
Okay. The big plays. You have to keep Marsh, Bullard, and those guys in front of you. Right? Velling's kind of a safety valve, the tight end, 12. Jack Velling. So you got to keep them in front of you. Keep going with Allen and Singleton. They're going to be 2 of the better offensive players on the field. And throw the ball downfield. I mean, they threw the ball downfield. And downfield doesn't mean, hey, we're going to throw the bomb on every play. No.
20 yards.
Okay, but that 15 to 25 yard, that in that range there, that's throwing the ball downfield. And if you can do that now, I mean, what's Singleton's biggest problem this year?
It's getting space to run.
Right. Okay, what I call clean air. Well, when you throw the ball downfield and you hit a couple, suddenly 8 in the box gets reduced now to 7 or 6, and it changes
and then
the dynamic, and now there's more clean air to work with. Your running game, that's what, if you hit a couple downfield or even show the threat that you want to do it, it then gives you an opportunity to then get at least a body out of the box, if not 2. Right? In all likelihood, a lot of times you probably would have 6 in the box, the 4 down linemen plus the 2 linebackers. Because if you're able to hit plays like that, now you've got to play 5 guys back. Right? And I think that's going to be important for Penn State in the game. And again, on defense, make sure Frazier doesn't hurt you in the running game, or Tullis or Tolliver, the transfer from Sacramento State, who had a good game against Minnesota. He ran for over 100 in that game. And you got to keep Marsh and Bullard in front of you, especially Marsh. And Marsh is an exceptional player. Now the question is going to be a quarterback. Alessio is one that, look, he likes the pocket and needs to operate from the pocket. Childs is more of a wild card guy.
He's their second leading rusher this season.
Yep. He's more of a wild card guy. And we know quarterbacks have been able to run at times against Penn State. They did a good job on Mendoza. Yeah, he scored on the quarterback draw, but that's a planned play. Okay, and it was just well blocked by Indiana. They did a great job on it. But I mean, that's what I'm looking for. Eckley, the punter, leads the nation in punting average. He changes the field. It's like 49 yards a punt. Place kicker's been a little bit like this.
I was going to say Connington is 9 for 13 for field goals this season. He's 1 for 4 on 40-plus yarders.
Yeah, but he
also missed a 20 to 29 yarder this season.
Yeah,
as well.
it was against Minnesota. It was a 24-yarder. It was on the near hash, and he hit it to the right.
Interesting.
Well,
so
in other words, he just pushed it.
Yeah.
In other words, it wasn't like a wild miss.
But he just pushed
it. Didn't bring it around. He didn't like you're supposed to kick it in this direction. He kicked it straight. And he missed it, and it was a big miss for them because they lost the game in overtime. In fact, he missed 2 field goals in that game.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So that's what they have.
So that game is coming up this weekend. You are traveling to it yourself. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and both teams are 0-6 in Big Ten play, so someone's going to break that streak, you'd presume. There's a chance they don't. Can you get a tie in college football?
No.
Okay, so some team will have a win in Big Ten play this season.
I mean, it's like,
someone's going to get it.
I hate how they do it now.
The overtime rules and how it works.
I know that. Look, I already went through the Illinois Penn State thing. But last year, Georgia played 7 overtimes. And you're sitting there like, we're going to do 2-point conversions. Oh, my God.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for